Well, hi everyone. I was actually recording a video for something else for a work-related project that I needed to do. And as I was then going through the saved files on my camera application, I came across some language learning stuff. And then I thought, I'm like, wait a second, I have a language learning YouTube channel. Or rather, I have a channel where I documented my very slow and often sporadic progress with learning languages, and have been doing so, I see now, for nearly 4 years. In that vein, the moment I saw those videos, something awoke inside my brain, and I was like, oh, all of a sudden I have content ideas. This is definitely, a productive use of my time. So today, I just wanted to touch base a little bit and talk about language dabbling. Not that I'm probably going to be adding anything new to the topic, but I dabble in languages a lot. I have been thinking because, language dabbling, it is a discussion that a lot of people have. It's very fun. I think for the people who do it, it's very enjoyable. And there's probably a lot of reasons why. A lot of people have said because the initial stages of learning a language, learning how to say hello, how are you, and then going out into the real world and asking somebody who speaks that language, hello, how are you, and seeing their reaction and there's a lot of positive reinforcement and a lot of good reactions around it. It makes you feel good. And, we never want to tell people not to do stuff that makes them feel good. But it also, we do see that this, not to say that it leads to, but it is often talked about in the same topic as, people who speak like the classic example is 10 languages, but only to an A1 level or less or something like that. And I just had this really interesting idea. So in regards to that, I wanted to talk about, travel, essentially. And right out of the bat, I know that not everybody in the world, not everybody who listens to this video will be able to travel. It's a very luxurious and privileged thing, and especially with the COVID, pandemic and all the things that have been going on in the world, not everybody is capable to travel. And we might dream about traveling a lot, but not all of us can. However, for those of us who can, and of those who can, those who like to learn languages, I feel that travel is actually a very, very good outlet for people who like to language dabble. Because all of a sudden now your language dabbling has a direction, it has goals, it has a timeline, and it has an outcome. At the end of the year, for 2 weeks, I'm going to be in South America, or I'm going to be in Rome or Paris, or I'm going to be in the Middle East, or wherever it is. And so all of a sudden you have an outlet to kind of direct your dabbling energy towards. And this is really, really cool because I feel like for those people who like to dabble, it's just enough pressure, just enough of an outcome, and just enough exposure with a specific language to feel like you're satisfying all, your needs, for lack of a better expression. And then after that, if you are no longer interested in the language, that's fine, because you've done the thing, you've traveled to the country, you said hello to somebody at least once in their language, and they said, oh, wow, you speak good French, or you speak good Mandarin, or you speak good Arabic, or something like that, and you got that hit, that positive reinforcement. You come back home, you have some good memories, and that might be it. As if for anyone who actually watches any of my other videos, you might know that my main focus languages rotate between Arabic and Malay and now Turkish because of where I live. Um, so I think somewhere in the end of the year, I tried to, hold myself back and not take on too many more languages than those three. Of course, I still did, but I tried to not drift too far from that paddock. However, I was able to travel in the past year or past 2 years to various countries. I was able to visit Hungary, Budapest for a while. I actually got to see a lot of Eastern Europe. Actually, I got to see Kiev before things kind of the situation changed there, and I was able to see Bucharest as well. So yeah, Eastern Europe's great. You should go check it out. But each of these places speak a language. They speak their own language. And a lot of the time, people do actually refer to, particularly with the case of Hungarian, they say it's renowned for being difficult, and even the Slavic languages have quite a reputation for being hard. So these are languages that I would never have thought to have dabbled in, or rather, I did not want to dabble in because I couldn't measure or manage the reward versus how much effort I put in, because to actually get anywhere with any language you got to put a lot of effort in, and there was really no reason for me to specialize in any Eastern European language, because I don't live there and I don't know anybody from there. I have no cultural affiliation to those places. But as things started to get a bit better in the travel perspective, and since I was staying in a closer country than I was before, at various times in the year, travel did become a feasible possibility. So we went, and in preparation for that, I did learn a little bit of the language. I learned how to say hello, thank you, and these kind of things, just really, really simple stuff. Oh yeah. In Hungarian, or in Hungary, I think when you go up to like a shop or to somebody, the first thing they'll say is like "Jó napot," or another greeting that I cannot remember. So it was nice to just say that back. Even if then they would continue to speak in Hungarian, and then you say, "Oh, I actually don't know what you're saying. I don't actually speak Hungarian. I just know a bit." And I think thank you was köszönöm or something like that. So the language was very cool to hear people speak, and to hear myself just saying a little bit about it. And I think when I was in Kiev, we had to take a COVID test, so we had to follow a sign, and I don't know much about the language, but I was able to read the Cyrillic alphabet that said test. So I was like, oh, we should probably go this direction. So that was enough. I got a little bit of utility out of the languages, and all in all, I just kind of made a few notes in a notebook and studied it for a few weeks. It was dabbling, but in the end, my interest in those languages was satiated, and I would love to return back to them, but I acknowledge that there's not much drive for me to do that right now. But at least I can look back on those and have a fond memory of them. I can look back at various markets and speaking with the old ladies and trying to talk to them about the prices, and they couldn't speak English and I couldn't speak their language, so we would borrow words from here and there, and eventually we got to understanding. We weren't speaking Hungarian or Ukrainian or English. We were just like communicating with the bare minimum amount of symbols that we could use and we could understand. But like I said, that gave me a good enough memory of that place, a good enough memory of those languages, that I can just look back at them and be like, oh, that was a really fun time. And I don't know, I guess if for people who dabble in languages, who will delve into a language and then drop it not on purpose, but they do tend to drop them. I don't really know what other kind of motivation or forms of dopamine you're looking from that. That seems to be the ultimate kind of experience. You just study a little bit, have fun. People are impressed that you can say hello, and that's it. Yeah, coming back around, this is not a discussion about you know is dabbling good? Shouldn't you have a long-term language goal? I'm just saying that, hey, if you like to play around with languages in a non-committal kind of way, and you have the opportunity to travel, it is good for people who like to experience languages like this, because you do sort of get a taste of the language, you get some positive reinforcement, and hey, if you have such an amazing experience, or the doors open for you, you may eventually choose to study them longer term. But and if you don't, maybe you have enough positive memories to not feel like you missed out, or not suffer from FOMO, if you will. Now, again, just to wrap up this rather long kind of rambly video, we have to acknowledge that not everybody can and will be able to travel, even to the countries or places that they want to practice their languages. So when I was living in Australia, there was no real feasibility that I'd be able to travel to these smaller, less popular, or less visited countries in Europe. And so there was no real driving factor for me to learn the languages. So I understand that, and we have to acknowledge and call it out that travel in and of itself is a luxury. If one cannot travel, I'm sure there are other options for people who like to dabble and play with languages and still immerse themselves. And if anyone ever really cared for a second video, we could talk about that. But just as some footnotes, I love listening to music in different languages, like just trying to learn and recite back the lyrics and sing them along at the tempo of the music, and hear again the language in your mouth coming out and producing those sounds is enough, for me to give myself, a nice little feeling of positive reinforcement. So, for those who cannot travel but want to dabble and want to sort of immerse themselves in a language for a brief period of time, music is a great outlet to do so. World cinema is another one. And of course, if you have a local place in your area that is, like a restaurant or a cultural center that does speak the obscure language you want to learn, or you want to dabble in for a while, go check it out. Go see what it's like there and stuff like that. See if they serve local cuisine. And again, that may be enough for you at this current juncture in your life. You may find that you have the time, you have the ability to delve deeper into those languages. And if you do, good luck to you. And, yeah. So that was it. For those of you who stayed for the entirety of this video, thanks, I guess. Not presenting anything new, obviously, just rambling here. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and leave a comment. Who knows where the next video I'll make will be. 2030? All right, bye.